Hello, everybody. So there's something I want to share with you. It's this concept that has been really shaping my life in such a new and cool way. And I think you might really like it. First, I feel like I have to give a shout out to Michelle Obama because it is the title of her first book. And it's this idea of living each day from a place of becoming. So it's not about being a certain way all the time because we just never are. It's not about arriving at a final goal or a destination. It's just about becoming. So this looks different for each of us. And since I've started playing with this concept, I've noticed that I'm taking a much more active, intentional role in my life. I've started noticing how even just throughout my day, every decision, every interaction, how I spend my time, especially that downtime in between all the doing, is really shaping who I'm becoming. And to be honest, there's many days that the way I show up isn't exactly in service of who I want to become. Those days where I find myself scrolling or adding a bunch of crap into my cart that I do not need, or choosing to eat a ginger snap for breakfast, which happened this morning. So any of those types of moments where I am now just stopping and saying, is that in service of who I want to become? So we know it's not a linear path, right? Like it's like all of a sudden I decide who I want to become, and then every single moment is in service of that. And if I veer off the path, there's like some punishment or shame involved. That is not the idea of this at all. It's actually the opposite of rigid rules. The edges it kind of just feels softer because I'm coming from this place of awareness and curiosity. I find that I'm more forgiving and kind to myself, and don't we all need more of that? And I'm also noticing that I catch myself faster when I'm veering down that path. So when I am on the phone about to put that item into the cart, I take a beat. Or when I'm feeling, this is a big one, this happens a fair bit, when I'm feeling a little bit annoyed with my husband, as we all do with the person that we live with 24/7. And I maybe feel a bit of an argument starting to bubble, I take a beat. And it's in that pause that I ask the question, is this in service of who I want to become? It's a practice. I don't always take that beat, and I have a bunch of crap arriving on my doorstep every single day that I probably don't need, and arguments with my husband that were super useless, but it's getting so much better. So here's something that you can try. Choose one typical day in your life, just a random day. And at the end of the day, so maybe a day that you have time to do this, at the end of the day, I want you to write down everything you remember doing, thinking, or feeling. You might want to keep this going in your phone as you go along. Even the seemingly insignificant stuff. So this is going to be a pretty long list, right? Now, at the end of the day, before moving on to the next step, I want you to take a few moments. Close your eyes. Take a few slow breaths. Allow your mind to soften and your intuition to wake up. And then I want you to look at that list, item by item, and I want you to ask yourself, was this in service of who I want to become? And then just write yes or no, really quick. Don't overthink it. Just trust what comes up. I actually like using a red pen for the yes and no's, because when you're done, I want you to just look at your paper, kind of with that soft gaze, and see what jumps out. Do you have a whole bunch of yeses and a couple no's? Do you have a lot of no's? Here's what's important at this point. This isn't about shame or self-correction, as I have said. This is just about seeing clearly, because you can't shift a pattern that you're not aware of. So once you've done this just one time, you don't need to keep doing this every day. The question itself becomes your guide. So when you're caught in that scroll loop, when you're feeling off, but you don't know why, when you're trying to make a decision, I just want you to ask yourself, is this in service of who I want to become? And that's how we start to break patterns. Let me know how this goes. As always, I love to hear from you. Have a great day.